Hello beautiful people, let's get started with today's look. Off camera I applied the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Face Primer, and on the eyes I applied my Urban Decay Primer Potion in Original. I'm going to be starting off with the Juvia's Place Eye Prep Eye Prime Eye Primer, and this is in shade number 2. I'm going to start off by shaking up the product because it can separate within the component, so you just want to make sure you shake it up before you start applying it. Putting 2 small dots on the eyes because a little goes a long way, and I'm focusing most of the product on the lid since that's where I really want the color to stand out the most, and then once I get to the outer portion of the lid, like around the crease area, that's where I start to use lighter tapping motions just to help diffuse the product. Don't worry about being messy, it'll all come together in the end, but just want to make sure you have the base there so that the color can really pop. Then I'm going to grab my KVD translucent setting powder and I'm going to lightly dust and set that area. This will help with allowing the eyeshadow to blend smoothly over on top. I'm going to be grabbing my Matte Book palette from the crayon case. I'm starting out by dipping into this purple shade right here at the top in the middle. So I'm going to be focusing this on the outer 2/3 of the crease and also the outer portion of the lid, just making sure I build up that shade there and also bringing it down to the upper lash line and just closing off that outer portion of the lid. Then I'm going to grab more of the base and I'm going to use this to carve out the inner 2/3 of the lid space. So first I'm looking down just to see where my eyes naturally crease, and I'm just going to make sure that I create the eye shape just a little bit bigger than that area, just to make sure that it comes together in the end. And then from there I'm just going to fill in the lid space after I've already carved out the area where I know I want it to be. Then I'm going to dip into this lighter yellow shade in the crayon case palette, and I'm going to be packing this on closer towards the inner tear duct. So with this shade you definitely want to pack it on because we're working more with building intensity in color as opposed to blending it out. So I'm just going to pack it on and get that yellow to really come through. Then in the Carnival XL Pro palette from BadAzzCosmetic with Stacey Marie, I'm going to be picking up the shade Ecstasy and putting this right next to the yellow. I'm going to pack it on, but then when I get closer to where the yellow is, I'm using a lighter hand just to help diffuse and blend out those colors together. Grabbing the shade Showboat, I'm going to be putting it next to Ecstasy, so doing the same thing, packing it on, and then the closer we get to that green shade, we're just going to use a lighter hand to help diffuse and blend them out to each other as smoothly as possible. Back to the Matte Book palette, I'm going to be picking up this kind of deeper navy shade, and I'm going to be using this to deepen up the outer portion of the crease. So I'm just going to build it up there, and then you guys are going to see me in a few go in with a smaller brush just to help really carve and define out the crease area. With the blending brush, I'm just going in and diffusing out the edges of that navy blue shade with the kind of leftover purple eyeshadow that we have on that brush. And then I decided to dip into that purple and just go back in and intensify that color and to just help diffuse out the shades in that area. After, I'm grabbing my crayon case Sharpie pen liner and going to apply my winged liner. Grabbing the shade Sunny from my BadAzzCosmetic water activated pastel liners, and I'm just going to put the liner on top of the black eyeliner that we already put down, corresponding with the colors above it. So I'm grabbing De Niro next, and we're going to put that just right where that green eyeshadow is. Grabbing the shade Aqua just to correspond with that deeper kind of greenish bluish color that we put down, and just making sure that the liner is doing what it's supposed to do, you know, having that gradient. And to finish off, I'm using the shade Passion and just going to finish that magical moment we have going above our black winged liner. Then I'm grabbing the Amrezy palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills, dipping into the shade New Yorker, and I'm going to be putting this in the upper portion, the crease closer towards like the inner tear duct. I was going to put another color there, but then I decided I like the colors I already have, so I'm just using this to diffuse out that area since it's close to my complexion and just helping it blend out real clean. And then I'm grabbing a makeup remover wipe and using this to clean up the excess eyeshadow on the outer portion of the lid. I'm going to be grabbing my Color Raine X Power Collection glitter, and this is in the shade Connect. So I'm going to be putting a little bit of it on the back of my hand, and then I'm going to go in with an angled brush and just using a tapping motion and placing this right in the crease, like right above where the eyeshadow is, and just creating that curve like right above where we already carved out initially with the primer from before. You know, just adding a light, nice little, you know, glitter moment to the eye look. Moving to the face, I'm grabbing my color corrector and I'm going to be applying this in all the areas where I have hyperpigmentation. I'm going to be using a damp beauty blender, so it's damp with water, and blending it out. Grabbing my KVD translucent powder again, I'm just going to be setting the color corrector. I'm doing this because when I put on my foundation, I don't want it to alter the color, so I'm just setting it in place. And for foundation, y'all know what it is. Going in with the usual from Juvia's Place I Am Magic foundation in the shade Tanzania or 205. Applying little dots all over the face because a little goes a long way. And I'm going to be going in with a damp beauty blender after, still damp with water, and blending everything out. For contour, I'm going in with my Oma Beauty Sculpt and Strobe Duo Stick in 3. And I'm going to be applying this to all the areas on my face where I want to contour. For concealer, of course, Juvia's Place I Am Magic in the shade 9. So I'm still doing the same technique that I had done in my previous tutorial, where I'm just applying it in the areas where I want the most amount of light to be on my face, or highlighting those areas, and then I'll blend it out. I used to, in my previous videos, kind of put a bunch on and just blend out the edges, but at this point I want to decrease the amount of time it takes me to blend out my face products and also just use less product and overall, you know, save some coins where we can. So I applied the concealer, I let it dry down, and then after that I go in with a damp beauty blender. I start blending out the contour first, and then after that you guys will see me blend out the concealer. And I also like to use the excess product of the concealer underneath the cheekbones just to help bring more light to that area and to accentuate the cheekbones more underneath the contour. For the nose, I like to just go in with a smaller beauty blender just so I'm not shifting the contour product around too much, and it just helps to diffuse out that specific area but also get the diffused blend that I want. I'm going in with my KVD translucent setting powder and my crayon case chalk dust in the letter N. I like to mix these two together to set all of the highlighted areas on the face. And I am going in with a damp beauty blender, so it's slightly damp, and I'm just pressing everything into the skin in the highlighted areas. To set everywhere else, I'm going to be using my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Dark Deep. So even though I'm going in with a kabuki brush, I'm still pressing everything into the skin. You'll see me use more of a swiping motion. If I didn't have my edges laid, I would have been swiping around there, and I like to swipe underneath the chin as I am doing right now, just to help diffuse out the areas where it would have been more of a harsh line. But I like to press into the skin because I don't want to be shifting around all that product that we just spent so much time just putting in a specific spot. Now I'm grabbing my bronzer in Naughty Spice from Colored Raine. That's how it looks. It's a little bit lighter because of the lights I have. Just trying to show you guys what that color looks like. And I'm just going to be applying this to all the areas where I contoured. I'm using a super light hand because I want more of a diffuse kind of sun-kissed look. I don't want it to be a super exaggerated contour, so I'm just using a light hand with this product. Now I'm going in with my setting spray. I'm applying it all over the face, fanning off for a little bit, and then I'm going to grab my beauty blender and I'm just going to press everything into the skin. I did my brows off camera, but just showing you guys, I used dark brown eyebrow pomade from the crayon case. And now I'm grabbing the Carnival XL Pro palette again, grabbing the shade Lit. I'm going to be putting this on just focusing this on the middle of the lower lash line. Next, I'm picking up the shade Foolish, and I'm going to be putting that closer towards the inner tear duct on the lower lash line, just making sure that I use a lighter hand where the colors overlap just to help blend, and then packing it on in the other areas. And now grabbing this red shade from the Matte Book palette, and just going to close off the outer portion of the lower lash line, just blending out that other section. And now I'm just grabbing my eyeliner from Melt Cosmetics. This is in the shade Porcelain, applying it to the waterline. Quick heads up, I thought this was like a matte white, and then I realized it has shimmer in it, so the shimmer makes it a little bit more difficult to show up, like very opaque. But just letting you guys know, the shade has shimmer in it, so letting y'all know. And now I'm grabbing this white from the Matte Book palette, and I'm going to be using this to set the waterline. This just helps to make it last longer, and then also did help with getting it to show up a little bit more opaque. Going back to the Amrezy palette, picking up the shade New Yorker, I'm going to be using this on the lower portion of the lid, just diffusing out the color, making sure that it blends out a little bit more seamlessly, and again using this because it's close to my complexion. Off camera, I applied my lashes in Just Jess, and this is from Super Baddie Kawaii. Now I'm grabbing the Saharan Blush Palette in Volume 2, picking up the blush Tau, and I am going to be placing this on the cheeks for blush. I like to press it into the skin. I picked this up from Aaliyah J. I feel like there's some blushes where pressing it on as opposed to swiping kind of helps with getting more pigmentation, so I'm just pressing it in and using light swiping to diffuse out more. And I don't know if you guys saw, my smile lines came out to say hello, so I'm going in with my beauty blender, the one I use to blend out my products. I didn't add anything else, I'm just using it to press into the skin and to get rid of those smile lines. Also, my nose was getting a little bit oily, so I just grabbed a tissue and just blotted that area. Just showing you guys like little quick touch-up tips, you know, because I usually don't go into that, but just letting y'all know how I fix my makeup if it starts acting up. Now I'm grabbing my Colored Raine Power Collection in Damage Control, and I'm going to be using the highlighter today to highlight all the areas I want to highlight on my face. So it's going to be the nose, the brow bone, and my cheeks. For a lip liner, I'm going in with the usual, of course, Edible from Melt Cosmetics, and I'm just going to line my lips, or lip line. Also, because I'm applying a gloss on top, I am going to fill in the outer corners of the lips just to help diffuse out that area. And you guys are going to see me blot my lips together. That's just going to help getting like a smoother gradation of the lip liner on the lips. For lip gloss, I'm going in with the shade Flicker from Sugar Pill, and I'm just going to apply that all over the lips and just making sure that when I apply the product, I am also helping with diffusing it into the lip line, and then or with the lip liner, and then of course finishing off with the setting spray, fanning off for a bit, and then pressing everything into the skin to complete this look. And here is the completed look. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Bless up, and until next time, sending out much peace, love, and enlightenment. Bye guys.